Greetings and salutations. I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is a report entitled The Michigan Dogman. There is a bizarre canine-like creature that is said to lurk deep within the wicked woodlands of Michigan. It is a story that has been told for decades at least, and reports continue to this day. What is this strange canine thing? Is it just the manifestation of an overactive imagination, or could it actually exist? Real or imagined, it has come to be known as the Michigan Dogman. It started as an April Fool's joke in 1987 when a radio station played a song called The Legend, a song with many references to a dogman. The station received reports later that same day from people saying they'd actually seen this dogman. Popularized by the song, the creature came to be known as the Michigan Dogman. The Michigan Dogman has been reported in Michigan newspapers multiple times since 2003. It is usually seen in the woods, and some people are certain they have spotted it. The beast is a famous legend north of Grand Rapids, Michigan, with region residents having told tales of it for over half a century. Legends of werewolves in general have been told since the late 1700s in more antiquated areas like Detroit. More reliable reports began to appear in the 1930s, but these were of dogmen, not werewolves. According to Linda S. Godfrey, a leading researcher on dogmen and other strange creatures, Michigan, and especially the vicinity of Kalamazoo, as well as the state's Manistee National Forest, has a very high amount of dogman sightings. There is speculation on just how dangerous the Michigan dogman and dogmen in general are, and that they never seem to want to attack people, although they appear capable of easily killing a person if they wanted to. Eyewitnesses who have encountered the Michigan dogman usually describe it as having a dog or wolf-like head on a humanoid body. It is often reported with glowing or reflective eyes and walking on two legs, along with having pointed ears and large fangs. It is covered in dark fur. Its height is typically estimated to be between 6 and 8 feet tall. The creature basically looks like what one would normally think of as a werewolf, though it is generally believed to not actually be a shapeshifter, and perhaps not something even truly paranormal at all. Theories on it include the possibility of it being a rare canine species, something that has somehow mostly evaded detection long enough that we have not yet been able to scientifically verify its existence. Others speculate it could be a spiritual being from another realm that becomes physical when in our world. Similarly, it, or they, could be interdimensional beings, some even going so far as to say they may be dog soldiers from another dimension. Along with that is the theory that they are time travelers. A more skeptical theory is that the dogman is actually just being mistaken for a normal wolf, a mistake perhaps fueled by feelings of intense fear, causing people to imagine something much bigger. There is also the idea that it may be a byproduct of psychological or neurological conditions, in other words, an hallucination. The final theory I will include here is that it is an actual werewolf, with no one having actually seen it shapeshift. This theory appears to be relatively unpopular, however, probably at least in part because it is one of the least plausible. As an aside here, if anyone is wondering why this report refers to the Michigan Dogman in both the singular and the plural, it is because these beings have been reported not just in Michigan and the United States, but in many different parts of the world. It is my opinion that the Michigan Dogman is simply what people generally call any dogman seen in Michigan, but I am still open to the possibility of it being one unique entity. It is at least unique in that Michigan has its own very idiosyncratic history and folklore about the creature. The following are stories of alleged encounters with the Michigan Dogman. The first is of Ben from Ottawa County. He was a young teenager when it happened, and he claimed to have seen the beast 3 times, except it appeared to be a different animal each time. His first encounter was in 1993 when he was navigating the paths of Hoffman Nature Preserve with a few friends at night. They heard something close to the middle of the preserve, and that was when Ben detected a large canine hidden behind a tree about 70 feet from their position. At first he thought it was just a dog before seeing it stand upright. Ben and his friends looked at one another for roughly 5 minutes before the creature disappeared into the dark. His second encounter was later that same year in December. He saw it in his driveway in the midst of frigid weather when he went to start up his mother's car. He had barely passed the front of the car before the hairy brute revealed itself on the other side. It stood on 2 legs and was around 7 feet tall or taller. It stared at him with yellow eyes. He cried for help, and the fiend fled into the forest, but not before jumping wildly 3 times as it did so. The third incident took place in 1994 with his cousin while he was walking at night from Lakeshore Drive toward the beach by the dunes. They saw a deer in an open area, but then a large canine creature emerged and swiftly grabbed it, taking it away into the woods. They approached the location of the attack and found footprints from the anomalous animal. In early 1994, there was a car accident on Lakeshore Drive. The vehicle had hit some kind of large animal. The police concluded they hit a deer, but a witness said gray fur was found at the point of impact. No blood or animal remains were detected, and the driver was unable to tell what his car hit. There was an encounter in 1938 when Robert Fortney saw something while by the Muskegon River. It was reported to be big and black. It looked like a dog, but it also stood upright, looking at Fortney. He shot at it, causing it to run away. He said he, quote, wouldn't want to call it a Dogman, but also said he didn't know what the strange canine thing was. The next encounter comes from Courtney from Reed City, Michigan. It happened when she was 13 years old in the winter of 1993. At this time, she did not know about the Dogman. She was secretly smoking behind her house when she saw a strange ray of light poking through the planks of a deserted barn. She spent a few minutes staring at it and then realized a strange beast with a canine head was staring back at her. It appeared to be 6 feet tall. She fled. Sometime after this, she talked to a neighbor who reported seeing a canine the size of a buffalo in that barn. The final encounter took place near Bendon, Michigan in the year of 2007. It comes from an anonymous witness. It happened around midnight on Cinder Road on the way to Traverse City, a few miles from the town of Bendon. The witness first saw 2 eyes glowing in the dark down the road. He thought it was a deer and slowed his vehicle. He then started to realize as he closed in on it that it was significantly bigger and darker than a deer. At this point, he was only going 30 miles per hour and was a few hundred feet from the strange animal. It still hadn't moved. Getting closer still, it reminded him of a very big and dark wolf, except that it was standing upright. It stood next to a dead deer and appeared to be just over 6 feet tall. The witness slowed to a stop. The creature remained motionless. For just a second he thought it was a giant stuffed animal placed on the road for some weird reason, since it was unlike anything he had ever seen before, and because he was able to get so close to it without it having moved at all. But right as he was having that thought, the beast went on all 4s and bolted across the road and into the forest alongside it. He remained in his seat, frozen in fear, for about a minute, wondering what he had just seen. He was too afraid to enter the woodlands to investigate, but he did find tracks on the side of the road that led into the forest that he was able to illuminate with his flashlight. He took a picture of one of the tracks with his camera. It was approximately 7 to 8 inches long. It was fortunate that the ground was so soft beside the road, because he was too afraid to go more than a couple of steps from his vehicle to photograph the prints. To see one of these photographs, go to www.michigan-dogman.com and click on Bendon, Michigan under the Encounters section. He said the animal did not make any sounds that he could hear, and that if it wasn't for the pictures, he would have ended up believing it was all his imagination. The last item I will note in this report is something called the Gable film, once considered the strongest evidence by many for the existence of the Michigan Dogman. It appeared to be video footage of the Dogman from the mid-1970s. However, just 5 years ago in 2010, its creators revealed on History Channel's Monster Quest that it was a hoax. The fact that it was so convincing makes one wonder just how reliable such films are in today's digital realm. However, it is my strong opinion that the Gable film being a hoax does not in any way disprove the possible existence of the Michigan Dogman. Stories and legends of dogmen and werewolves have been around for many years, dating back centuries in some parts of the world. It is only in recent times that the tales are gaining more recognition, largely thanks to the easy availability of information in the modern era. It is clear from these stories that the Michigan Dogman is not the only dogman around. From all the research I have done into dogmen, for both this report and just out of pure interest, listening to one person after another tell their stories of what they claim were encounters with dogmen, I can now honestly say I believe that there may indeed be something to all of these stories. Until someone produces clear video footage of one of these creatures that can be authenticated, the most convincing evidence for the existence of dogmen, in my opinion, are the audio clips of eyewitnesses recounting their encounters. When I take those and all the other evidence out there into consideration, it is clear to me that at least some of these people are seeing something unusual. The question is what? Are they indeed seeing these werewolf-like creatures, or is it all some kind of an illusion? I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that now, whenever I walk by the woods, I never look at them quite the same. I wonder if somewhere within, shrouded by trees and shrubbery, there could lurk a menacing, wild and maniacal, hungry for human flesh, dogman. That concludes this report. Thanks for watching.